Okay, here's a complete
Hello everyone. If you read my bio on my channel here, you know that I have built my own electronic drum set.
I've got a snare.
And so
12 and a
many years
13-inch
ago I
tom,
lost some of my hearing and I
14-inch
just
floor
could
tom
not
tom.
play an acoustic
Bass
drum set
drum.
because it was too loud.
Got,
And I've just never had the
2
opportunity
crash cymbals,
in my life to
and
have a
ride
drum set
cymbal,
from where I
and
lived,
this is a cowbell,
places that
and
just
of course
it would be too
hi-hat.
loud no matter what.
Everything
And plus
right
with my
now
hearing
is
problem,
being controlled with
it
an
was going to
Alesis
be an
Nitro
issue. So
module.
after I heard about
I was
electronic
going to build my
drums,
own module,
I started
but
researching
then
them
this one
and
came up
looked
on
at some
eBay,
kits, and
for
I just
very
didn't
good price.
like the looks of the electronic
so
drum
I just
kits that
decided
were
to
out
go
there,
with
that
this
are
one.
out there.
It also has
And
the capability of going with
seems like the
MIDI,
drums were relatively
interface,
small,
so I can
and
plug it into a
I
laptop,
just wanted
which I
something that
have,
was more like an acoustic drum
things
set.
plugged into here.
This started out
I
as
could
I was
use
going
like
to
Easy
build
Drummer
just a
or MT Drummer, which I
practice
have on there
pad
right
set.
now.
And the
But,
more I
haven't
started
really,
building on it,
done much with that
it
so
just
far.
became a full-blown electronic
Also, to
drum
learn
set.
and to practice and to do
So
drum covers, I have a monitor.
one of the
Here's
whole
just
ideas
one
of this set was to build it with things that I had
27-inch, I think,
just laying around my shop.
flat screen TV.
I had a lot of 3/4 inch plywood, oak plywood. I have
everything here is a
2x4s
wood
and
frame.
2x3s and lots of wood and
I
different
also
hardware. And I also this
home-built
year bought a 3D
hi-hat,
printer, which helped with some of the parts
pedal,
that
which
are making up this.
you have a
So
separate video
I
on.
really don't
And
have
I
that
got
much
a
money in this,
friend of mine
just
who
based
was a
on the
drummer,
fact that I had a lot of stuff
actually
laying
had an
around.
extra
So that was one of my
bass drum
goals,
pedal,
was to
which,
build this
was
as
really
cheaply
nice,
as
and he
possible,
gave it to me for
but
free.
have it
So
really
that
functional
was
and fun
pretty
to
nice.
play.
Saved me a lot of
So I'm gonna
So
do a little
that's pretty much,
go
the kit
around here
itself.
with some other
And
videos
also,
showing you
just in
how I
case I
built
ever wanna
everything,
play out or
what I did to
something
build the
someday.
drums, the
I
cymbals,
found
the
this
hi-hat,
V10
the
bass amp on
controller, and the
Marketplace
frame and
for
everything.
$15.
So
Did not work,
if anybody else
but
is
discovered it all
interested
had
in
was a
building their own
short
set, it's
capacitor,
entirely
and
possible.
fixed it, and
And I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm
so,
learning to play.
this
As you
is
can
my
probably see some of
entire
my videos.
and
I'm not
gonna
the
show
greatest drummer in the
all the
world, but
individual
I do
pieces at this point.
appreciate any comments that you give me on my drumming. I just ask you to be kind, because I've only been playing for a few months, and I know that I have a wooden drum set, but it sounds really good and it plays really well, and I'm pretty proud of it. So here goes. I'm going to do some other videos here, and I'm going to show how I came about building this set.
Okay, here's a complete view of my DIY or homemade drum set. I've actually got a 5-piece drum set here. I've got a snare, 12 and a 13-inch tom, and a 14-inch floor tom-tom. Bass drum, I've got 2 crash cymbals and a ride cymbal, and this is a cowbell, and of course I have a hi-hat. Everything right now is being controlled with an Alesis Nitro module. I was going to build my own module, but then this one came up on eBay for a very good price, and so I just decided to go with this one. It also has the capability of going with a MIDI interface, so I can plug it into a laptop, which I have things plugged into here, and I could use like Easy Drummer or MT Drummer, which I have on there right now, but I haven't really done much with that so far. Also, to learn and to practice and to do drum covers, I have a monitor here. It's about a 27-inch, I think, flat screen TV. And so I just have everything here as a built a wood frame, and I also have a home-built hi-hat pedal, which I have a separate video on, and I got a friend of mine who was a drummer actually had an extra pearl bass drum pedal, which was really nice, and he gave it to me for free. So that was pretty nice. Saved me a lot of money. So that's pretty much the kit itself. I also, just in case I ever want to play out or something someday, I found this acoustic V10 bass amp on Marketplace for $15. It did not work, but discovered that all it had was a shorted capacitor, and we fixed it and it works great. And so this is my entire set, and I'm going to show all the individual pieces at this point. This is the construction of a typical drum on this set. What it consists of is, this is a 14-inch diameter snare, and I've got a 14-inch diameter flat piece of 3/4 inch oak veneered plywood here that I just had in my shop. I also have a 3/4 inch oak veneered plywood here for the rim, and what I used here is I cut the top off of a 5-gallon bucket, and I painted it black. The nice thing about the 5-gallon bucket is it has a really nice rolled edge on the top, very similar to a drum, and so that worked out really well. I got all these ideas pretty much off different websites. I'm using the PET resistant screen as my drum head, and it does have a very good feel to it. And I also put it together with some long screws here underneath. It's got just your typical press-in wood nuts. And the electronics part of this is, you can see through here, is I 3D printed this bracket, which it's the white part there, which is holding the piezoelectric sensor. And on top of that, I just have some double stick tape on the sensor that's holding on this piece of rubber, which is similar rubber to what's on my cymbals. It's really just a yoga mat, about 3/8 of an inch thick. So I use that on all of the drums, and I just have I had to reposition the snare, because I had the other drums, I had the sensor more close to the edge, which seemed to work, but the snare didn't seem to work so well until I put the sensor towards the center. So I added this extra piece of wood spacer here, and it's holding the module, and it goes out to a 1/4 inch jack on the side. I do have another sensor on the side for the rim. I don't have that hooked up right now, but I'm hoping to have that hooked up in the future. This would be the only one that would have the extra sensor for the rim. So that's typical drum construction. I did the same exact construction for the mounted tom-toms and the floor tom. They're all the 5-gallon bucket with the wood framing. And then it's mounted to my frame. I've just got a frame down here that holds everything in place. And it took me a little while to get the right heights and everything for myself, but everything seems to work really well. The screening really tightens up well with this. All I did on this was put a piece of round screening on it, and I just stapled it with staples. I didn't do anything fancy with any kind of a ring or anything. I just stapled it on the bottom, and I don't know if we can see that or not, but yeah, it's just stapled on the bottom. And it holds it just right. I've been playing these drums now for about 3 months, and it seems to be holding up just well. So that's all of the drum construction. Thank you. Okay, this is my version 2 of my electronic cymbals. If you saw one of my other videos, you saw that I had originally made these cymbals with plastic from a storage tote, and I put some conveyor belt under it, and I glued a yoga mat to it. But I don't know, as I was playing them, they started falling apart because they were just glued together and everything. So I thought, well, maybe I can just get some cheapy cymbals. So I went on to one of the online discount places, and I bought these cymbals that I would probably never use for an actual drum set because they are really, really cheap. And they were only about $11 a piece. So what I did was I spray glued a piece of this yoga mat to the top. I also 3D printed a nut. I've got actual drum cymbal felts here. These come off. I 3D printed this spool, which was I believe from a Tama a document that I found, and it's got an 8mm bolt in it because it's got an 8mm thread on my cymbal nut. All I did was, you'll notice there was another of one of my videos that shows this cymbal sensor box, which all it is a 1/4-inch plug with the sensor is glued to the gasket material underneath, and then I 3D printed this box and soldered it up, and then I just have it screwed on there with 2 screws under the bottom of the cymbal. So then my cymbal stands is just EMT pipe, and I have it held in place down here with some clamps. I put a nice bend in it so that it would sit here like this and kind of stay and keep it from rotating. So these cymbals are working really well. Didn't cost all that much, and now there are only 1-zone cymbals at this point. I do have my ride cymbal here, which is a 1-zone, but I'm planning on adding another disc or something up here so I can use it as a bell, because these cymbals, the plug is a TRS, and so I'd be able to plug the bell into the other part of that plug. So I have a crash number 2, which is plugged into the Tom 2 or Tom 4, I believe. No, it's in the back. It's plugged in the back. There's this crash 2. Sorry, this is ride, and then this is crash 1. Okay, this is my hi-hat. It's pretty simple. It is this one actually is still one of the plastic ones that I use, the lid from a tote and a piece of conveyor belting on the bottom. I've got the same type of bracket here for the sensor, and I have got an extra, actually it's a little bit different spool here to hold it on. It's flat on the bottom instead of conical like for the other cymbals. It's held on here pretty rigid, and I have a piece of like a foamish rubber on here. There's 2 layers of it on this side, and it just wasn't sounding right to me, so I ended up putting this little piece of hose on here because it was almost like it was too soft with the hi-hat when I hit it, where here I get more of a sharper hit to it, and it makes it sound better. The skull is something I just found on one of the 3D printing sites. It has an 8mm thread in the bottom, and like I said, this is pretty rigid. It's actuated by this homemade pedal, which I made. There's another video showing that in particular. This is hooked up to the Alesis module with the hi-hat control, and it does the splash when you lift up on it. Basically, I'll show you to you again. It's just a switch, and it's a double pull momentary switch that when you push it down, it's in hi-hat mode, and when you lift it up, it's in open hi-hat mode. And when you lift it up, it splashes. So that's pretty much my my hi-hat. This is my cowbell. It's a piece of PVC tubing. It's held on a bracket here. I've just got a piece of threaded rod going through it. It's got a 1/4-inch plug mounted in the back, and inside, you can't really see it, but there's a 3D printed little plastic thing that has this shape, and it has this sensor mounted to it. It was a little bit too sharp, so I added this little piece of conveyor belting to it, so when you hit it, it's not so bad. But so when you know, it's just a cowbell sound. There's several different cowbell sounds that you can get on the Alesis Nitro set. So I think it works pretty good. This is my bass drum. This is a box, a 2x4 box with a piece of plywood on the front that I was using for something else. And so I put some cloth on the front to make it look decent. And the drum is built just like all the other drums. As far as the drum shell, I think it's like a Cool Whip container. And I have the sensor mounted right there. And with this setup, I just pretty much hit the sensor straight onto that yoga mat stuff. And then I have just a junction box down here that just has the 1/4-inch plug with it that the sensor goes to. And it's just mounted to this box. So for the electronics on this drum, I decided to go with a Alesis Nitro drum module. Seems to be really doing the job. I got this on eBay for like $45, including the wires, and it's so far it's been pretty good. I've obviously done my own user tuning on this thing, because I did have to tune and set up every drum to match my setup and my sensors and everything. So I've got this, and I've got also a laptop here, which I have plugged in. The laptop is plugged into the back of the Alesis module to the auxiliary in from the headphone jack of the laptop. And then my Tom 2, I think it is, output here is going to the cowbell. I also have the other Cymbal plugged into the back here, and if I want to, I can plug in a USB, and also for my drum covers, I have a iRig setup that I'm plugging into the output mono on here. So what I do is I have the laptop also going to a monitor, which I have set up here in my shop. So I just kind of sit here. I can set it up so I can hit the space bar and it goes, and I can play along. And through headphones, I can listen to both the music and the drums, set the levels, and also the iRig setup that goes from the output jack to my camera tripod, which has the iPhone, which I'm using right now in my hand, and it goes there and has both outputs of the laptop and the drum module. So all I get is those two sounds. I don't get any external sounds, and I can just play away. The drum kit hardly has any sound to it. This is pretty much what it sounds like when there's nothing turned on, so I'm not really bothering the neighbors. And so it's pretty quiet. Here's just the bass pedal. So it's kind of all I wanted. It's I can just turn up the headphone volume as much as my ears will take, so I don't have the acoustic drum sound level that I would have if I had acoustic drums. And I can do my drum covers, which I've been trying to do. I've only been playing the drums for a couple of months now, and so I'm not all that great, but I think I'm getting a little bit better. But it's more fun for me than anything. I love playing the drums. It's a lot of fun. I'm finding that I'm getting a little bit more fit because I have had a lot more sore muscles than I thought I would have after playing. But this is pretty much what I've been doing lately, and it's been a lot of fun. So if you have any questions, or if you have any comments, or if you'd like to give me a thumbs up on this video, that'd be great. I did put a lot of research into this, and I want to thank everybody on the internet who's built drums and put them online so that I could actually go in and get some ideas here and put together something myself. So thanks for your time, and happy drumming.